We will get started today. We're going to talk about preparing and pursuing in 2026. That's going to be our motto for this. That's my Baltimore side coming out, right, Brian?
Yeah,
The motto,
sure.
motto. All right, here we go. And for everybody's edification, Todd has it right. Oh, hold on a second, Todd. Let me make you the co-host. 1 second. Let me make you the co-host. There you go. There you go. You're now the co-host.
Right.
So that's only because you also have the best Christmas movie. You have identified the best Christmas movie ever. It says it right here, the ultimate Christmas movie.
The ultimate Christmas movie.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. If you have any, let us know what your favorite Christmas movie is or what you got in there. Let's get to know each other a little bit. Have you been in business for a little while? Maybe you're brand spanking new. Let us know about that. And if you have any federal contracts, if you had any federal contracts that were affected by the shutdown, we're going to remove that after this week because that's pretty much old news, right, Brian?
Yeah, Ariel's pretty funny. I love Ariel's guy comments, by the way.
Which one's that?
She wanted to know if he's shirtless the whole time in Die Hard.
Most of it. Not shirtless most of the time.
Well, like a tank top, right?
It's
Yeah, tank top.
He's in a wife beater.
I was going to say a wife beater. Very good.
There you go.
That's it.
And if that's your thing, he's sweaty the whole time too.
Oh.
And dirty. And dirty. It's pretty wild. Anyway, if you haven't seen that movie, you just got to do it. You got to watch it. All right. So what happened? We had the shutdown. We have a continuing resolution, which means they haven't been spending a whole lot of money. So now what? We got the dollars. And what are we? You're going to love this. You're going to love this. Everybody, you're going to know that I am a dad from this one. We are playing. What?
I don't get it.
You don't know we're playing catch up?
Oh
My gosh.
Oh, jeez.
All right, that's why I do not get up in comedic sessions. All right,
Cue eye roll. Cue eye roll.
Catch up. Oh, catch up.
At least you use Heinz. So
That's right. 157. That's right. All right. So the hot seat questions for today, so everybody gets a set up. What are the biggest challenges for contractors this year in 2026 coming up? How can we get contractors positioned for new work, and how do we act on this right now for contractors? That makes sense for everybody? And bonuses for tips from Sam Radar members. We got a few Sam Radar members here. I know we do because Ray's here. Awesome. And she loves Bruce Willis. So she gets extra treatment. In fact, I am going to
Send her a fruitcake. Send her a fruitcake, Dave.
There you go. Let me go to Ray. I'm going to go to Ray. So Ray can talk at any time she wants.
Family Man, a good one, Robert. I like that one.
Which
Family
one?
Man. Family Man. Nicolas Cage. Yeah, that's really good. Yep, that's great.
Hey, real quick, make sure you have everyone in your chat too.
Yeah.
So that everyone can see your comments.
Yeah. Robert.
I was on the wrong one before. I wasn't able to talk before. So can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Ray. Go ahead, Ray.
I love Bruce Willis. He reminds me of my husband.
Well, there you go.
Real Marine. Woo.
Wow. You got a studly husband then.
That's funny. That's funny. My wife said I remind her of Chris Farley, so I don't know if that's a good one or a bad one.
It's a bad one, Brian. It's a bad one.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Oh boy, that's what it's going to be today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you came to be semi-entertained. Read the disclaimer for yourself. I'll just say we're not endorsed by anybody. How about that? And participation is you guys can participate. No guarantee on award. All right, if you have questions, you can raise your hand, put it in the Q&A. You can also react if you like something that we're doing. If you don't like it, throw something at us and we'll try to pay attention. We will connect you with experts. We'll be discussing what works with shameless plugs for things like samradar.com because that's what we do here. We have shameless plugs for that and our sponsors and partners, all of our partners here. I'll introduce you to them in just a minute. And the reason why we need these sponsors and partners is we can't do this alone. Right, Brian? We can't do it alone.
Sure can, Dave. I agree with that.
Cannot do it alone. All right, I'm going to pop the session docs in there. You can get that from the link there. If you can't grab those, let me know. Can you give me a thumbs up that if you go there, it looks something like this? Does that work for you guys? And make sure you're chatting to everyone, so everybody. So let me know. Thumbs up. This works for folks. Yes, good. Jamie, I love it.
I feel like the list of docs here are getting longer and longer.
They're getting longer. Yep. And what you'll find in there, you'll find the winnable opportunity matrix. We'll actually talk about that a little bit today. The fiscal year 2026 spending year to date as of the 1st of this month, as well as other spending reports that we'll talk about. In fact, I'm going to get into that real quick before we get started so that you understand what these are. And then there's also a link where you can take a look at how this is affecting you and your industry by NAICS code and product service code as well. So if we take a look at this is the 2024 spending report, which is in there because we don't have the 2025 one done yet because that'll be finalized in January after DOD finishes their stuff. But all the data is in two federal systems, fpds.gov. What is that? Brian Hebel used to use it occasionally.
Federal Data Procurement System?
Yep. As a former go ahead.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's $0, $1, $100, $100 million. The contracting people have to put that in for every contract action they do, unless it's not grants, not OTAs. But other than that, it's in there.
Yep. And how would you know such a thing?
I was a contracting officer for 32 of my 34-year career, and you haven't even picked on me yet, Dave.
It's my turn. Oh, it's Brian, I got you. But you need H codes to look in FPDS. Gotta go.
He just dropped in for that comment.
Yeah. So fpds.gov is one side of the system that shows the contract. sam.gov is where they post opportunities. Most of us know that. So we'll talk about this as well. It's relative to the number of offers received. What that means is the contracting offer receives what? An offer that you give them, or some contractor gives them, right? And if you notice, this is kind of wild. 81% of the contracts are not reported or won. Former contracting officer Brian Hebel, what does not reported mean?
Means it was probably won.
Probably won.
They just didn't fill it in because they said, well, if we only got the one proposal, it's not going to fill.
It's really hard to hit that one button, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
It's hard to hit that one button.
Yeah.
And that accounts for 60% of the dollars with no competition. Everybody got it? Who wants to be there? Thumbs up if that's you. Thumbs up if you want to be there.
I don't even want, as a contracting officer, I don't even like competition for that matter.
That's right. And how about this? 90% of the contracts, 93% of the dollars, 5 or fewer. That means that's shortlisted. And who wants to be there? Who wants to be one of the 5? Absolutely. We all want to be one of the 5. Now check this out. 143,191 opportunities hit on sam.gov. Compared to 7.1 million and change contracts that were awarded in 2024. That means 98% are not hitting there. Who wants some of that 98%? Who wants it? Come on, stay engaged. Oh, you might be saying, well, the Trumpster took office on the 20th of January. And some people think he's the Scrooge. Some people think he's Santa. Just throwing it out there. Today's Santa. I could put a Scrooge hat on him. That would have been funny. All right. What about since 120? Guess what? 77% of the contracts, 60% of the dollars. The delta for that is 3.6 million. 87% of the contracts, 93% of the dollars. It looks very similar. All right. I'm going to end this poll. And I'm going to go back here.
Dave, just to clarify for morale on there, not everything's on FPDS. And you're right, morale. We didn't say that classified data doesn't go on FPDS. Yep.
That is true. All right. Did you know about the missing contracts? Yes, and you want some. Maybe you knew some were missing, but you still want some because you're selfish this Christmas season. And then maybe it's the first time you're hearing it, and you want some. Or maybe you don't believe me. So we could have a whole nother conversation about that. But I'd love to know if anybody doesn't believe it, because I will show you today. As a matter of fact, at 1 p.m., shameless plug for me today, So since the shutdown, this is what it looks like. And there was a lot of that happening. This is all coming back, though, because we have a lot of spending that's happening right now. So success in 2026, what does preparation and pursuit look like? We're going to talk a lot about that today.
Dave.
Go ahead.
Oh, we have a Sai in the chat asking how does she, but I'm probably butchering her name if it's even her, but asking how do they situate themselves to compete on these contracts?
Oh my goodness, that's question number 2. That's hot seat question number 2. I love it. We're going to get to that. I promise we're going to get to that. I'm glad that we got there. So first thing we want to do is we want to monitor the activity. That includes NAICS, your PSC, which stands for Product Service Code and Keyword. And we got to make sure they know who you are. So you got to engage those folks. The phone that's not ringing is the government not calling you. Everybody got that? If the phone's not ringing, is the government not calling? And what we do is we do this with Sam Radar. It's real-time contract monitoring, and it gives you 100% of the market, and it's 100% guaranteed to work. And what that means, if you don't win 10 times what you invest in Sam Radar, we'll give you 100% of your money back. Give me another system, because it's not just a system, it's a process. Right, Nikita? It's not just a system. It's more than that, because we want to get to a place where we're minimizing the competition. We see that it happens. We see it happens. So therefore, we need a way to get in. I'll also talk a little bit about becoming the subject matter expert in 26. Very important to do. You can find that on govbrief.us. We're looking for experts. If you're an expert in your field, we'll help showcase you to the government and potentially to industry, but certainly if you want to reach the government. Speaking of GovBrief, shameless plug number 1, I will be on GovBrief today at 1 p.m., just like this. So with that, we're going to get into our hot seat question number 1, and I'm going to be reaching out to Rafael Marrero first.
He's on a phone call.
What's that?
He's on a phone call.
Oh, he's on a phone call. Okay, I can't reach out to Rafael Marrero first. All right, so tell me, what's the biggest challenge that you see? Denise B. Lawrence, let's start with you. Denise does for-profit grants. She also does RFP writing and RFI writing. So if you need help with that, she can help you there. What do you see is the biggest issue for contractors in 2026?
Navigating relationships continue to lead, and I think people are scared to reach out because of all of the changes, but it's quite the opposite. I got a few folks, they're like, I don't have anything. I'm like, because you're not creating anything. So, yeah.
I like that. So navigating relationships, navigating the changes. Nikita Van Kirk, what's your perspective on that? What's the biggest challenge for contractors?
I would say right now being respectful that they are probably overloaded. Understanding that they may not have their full budget yet because we do have that January deadline. So they may have a partial budget depending on which industry they're in. And then also, honestly, just the communication. I think the communication with the government shutdown really slowed. And so people are starting to pick that back up. But now we're going into the holidays and everyone's taking their vacation because they don't want to work on the holiday, right? So that communication flow is very slowed down. I can't tell you, I sent out, 30 emails yesterday and I got 4 different responses. I'm out of the office until January 5th. Well, how are you going to communicate with them when they're out for almost a month,
Yeah, I love it. So they're overloaded. They don't have budget yet, and communication is a challenge. I love that, love that, love that. Sally White, who helps folks with events and LinkedIn. She's a master networker. If you don't know Sally, you should. So you can meet her, and she helps folks connect, especially at events. So you can reach out to her if you need some additional help with that. Sally White, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. So what do you think is the biggest challenge for contractors in 2026?
So I guess I'll answer the question for government contractors who are contacting contractors and contacting the government. I would say to keep calm and carry on. In other words, you have your brand. Hopefully you've worked with Dr. Rafael Marrero. If not, you can work with him.
You know your grants. Obviously, Ms. Denise can assist. You have a strategy going. Nikita, me, Dave helps with strategy. You know who you're dealing with, Brian. You have money, Peter. You have your CMMC, Todd. So if you have your plan in place, keep calm and carry on. Now you can pivot, but it's important not to freak out, right? Like with this recent thing with the SBA and the 8A audit, or
that's a big deal,
or a new, Anyway, keep calm and carry on. That's what I would say.
So, all right. So keep pivot, to be willing to pivot, but don't freak out.
Stay
Love
the course.
that.
Yeah, stay the course if you have a plan. And if you don't have one, get one.
Get one.
All right. The Santa Doctor Colonel here, Rafael Marrero, helping folks with their capability statements and their websites and things like that, and helping with business cards and even doing mailings. What do you think are the biggest challenges for contractors in 2026?
I don't have my sexy blue glasses on today. I have my green glasses, but I'm going to try this, okay? To do my sexy blue steel pose, right? So part of the biggest challenge right now, Dave, that I've seen, at least when you're monitoring the chats and what's being published, people are having a hard time kind of understanding what the messaging needs to be right now, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's very important that there should be a shift in focus from the previous certificated small business or certified small business approach to more of efficacy and efficiency and what you can deliver, the pain points that you can actually solve. That's the biggest problem. Even the 8A small business development program is under question now, right? So there's been, there are challenges definitely, and I don't mean to turn this into a political discussion. I'm just stating a fact, right? So even the existence of the 8A program it has been brought to question, right? And people are being asked to submit their financials and everything. So there's reforms. The DOT program is also, the DBE, Disadvantaged Business Program from the DOT, has also been challenged in terms of like the goaling. So all of that said, what's important right now, Dave, more than ever, is to focus on what you really bring to the table. What are your core strengths? How well are you communicating that? And how efficiently are you communicating that in your codes, in your language, in the parlance that you're using in all of your messaging strategy? That's very important, right? So, sometimes people lead with their certifications on their capabilities narrative, for example, in DSBS. And this is like very, very tactical, but it's strategic at the same time because it calls for a shift in focus, right? Yep. Show me what you can do for me. Show me how you can help me reach my mission objectives. Show me what your organization brings to the table. Show me what you've done for others in the past, right? And how you can help me as a buyer, as a federal buyer. Then I'll listen to you. That's the message that you really need to be focusing on.
I love it. So I heard messaging. You're focusing on your core strengths and your ability to deliver and solve problems. Get away from your leading. Certainly, should you ever be leading with your socioeconomic?
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. I don't care who you are. I don't care what, I care about what you can do for me, right? Yep. And I'm a buyer. I mean, this is realistic. It's a business transaction, right? Yep. So I have a certain amount of dollars. I have a requirement. And I need to fill that billet or that requirement with someone, right? That can provide a product or service. And by the way, at the end, if you also happen to be a veteran or a woman or whatever, that's great, right?
Cherry on top, right?
Yep, that's right. That's a cherry on top. That's right. Yep. Of the tres leches. But you need the tres leches first. You need the tres leches cake first, right?
Like it. Love it. All right. So Todd has an interesting perspective because he helps folks with their cybersecurity and helps their running their.
Love the hat. Yeah.
And so, Todd, what do you see as the contractors' biggest challenges in 2026?
Well, I think right now we're seeing a lot of compliance things. The Trump administration is really cracking down on a lot of things people have been saying as far as doing with the government. We see, obviously, the hot topic today is the 8A. In response, have you guys seen the ATI videos? How ATI is suspected or accused of gaming, a bunch of set-asides and that kind of stuff, and they got caught in it. But we're also seeing with CMMC. CMMC is the Department of War cracking down on people that said they were doing all these compliance things for cyber. So, the government's really intentional right now about making sure, cutting down on everything they consider fraud, which it may not just be typical, normal fraud, but it could be anything that where you may have been a little creative with some of your answers, or kind of fudged a couple numbers kind of thing, just to kind of get things across the line. Well, they're coming after people for that. So
Yep.
if you're in that boat or you think you're in that boat, reach out to one of us. We can help you with cybersecurity and that kind of stuff. But there's somebody in our ecosystem, no matter what area you're worried about, that can help you make sure that you've done the right things that can help you. And if you haven't, we can help you get there.
Yep. Love it. So compliance, and I think that and communicating the fact that you are compliant and have those and you've been audited becomes part of your pitch too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, Todd?
Yeah. We're seeing a lot with if you're a War Department contractor, we're seeing a lot of people that are looking really good for new contracts because they've gone through the CMMC process, right? Last numbers I had, less than 0.5% of small businesses that are going to require CMMC have already been audited. 0.5%. So if you want to win contracts really easily, be that one, because CMMC, to get a waiver, first of all, that's pre-solicitation. So by the time the solicitation comes out, it's already too late. And in order for them to stop it or change course or whatever, that's going to have to go through Congress. And I think we all know that you're not going to get a majority of Congress to vote against cybersecurity.
I couldn't agree more. That's awesome. Nobody. They're cracking down on that on all sides, and we could probably talk about that for 3 hours, but we're not going to. But I do want to call out something for Peter Timmis. Now, Peter woke up this morning. Well, he drove back from New Hampshire to find in Maryland all his pipes were frozen. So he is not here today. But one of the things that he would say, and I would agree with this, wouldn't you, Sally? Absolutely. That one of the challenges is making sure that you are financially sound and making sure that you have the dollars to be able to support your federal contracts. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. A lot of people are reaching out to Peter right now, both coming out of the shutdown, coming into the new year, as well as this recent thing with the SBA, because if someone has an accountant, that's one thing, but these issues are very complex. So having an accountant who understands government contracting is important. And Peter has some people like that in his TFN compendium of people. So Peter's great. I'll put his information, just like all of us here, as part of Dave's team. He's happy to do a free call with you to explore how he might be able to add value to your plan.
And I think that we've seen it with the shutdown and having the stability over the shutdown and getting through. He's been very instrumental in helping folks do that. So I want to make sure I give a shout out to him and wish him the best with all the craziness that can happen with frozen pipes. You never do know. Right, Brian Hebel?
Right. You got that right.
So what do you see as the biggest challenges for contractors? Brian?
Well, without going down a rabbit hole, as I probably would, I'd say if you really want to get technical, FAR Part 8, 12, 13, 15, 16, 19, and 42.
For your casual reading pleasure.
Yeah, for your casual reading pleasure.
That's you not getting technical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's lots of FAR changes impacting small businesses. I think small businesses across the board are going to be impacted the most. I see Raphael shaking his head. Yeah. But they're being impacted in really everywhere in FAR Part 8. They're being impacted 12 and 13, negotiations in FAR Part 15 are being done. You can now do a BPA on IDIQs. There are no more small business specialists in the agencies. They totally wiped out of FAR Part 19. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's just lots and lots of changes. So the biggest impact I think who's going to be impacted the most are the small businesses, the most disruption. I think even going to streamline acquisitions, we're seeing that. If you look at commercial solutions opening, just type CSO on sam.gov or broad agency announcements. We're going to see more of that with maybe different streamlined ways for contracting officers to do business. I'm seeing that now. And I think the good news is DOGE is probably over. Impact of DOGE is probably over, I think. At least right now, DOGE is gone. So I think we're still going to see some consolidation in the agencies. And for CPARs, and we have the CPARs radar product out there I put in the chat. We just found out literally this morning that in the defense authorization bill that's going forward. They want to open up CPARs, not only broaden it so there's a way for commercial organizations to have CPARs somehow put into CPAR's database. So we were thinking 2 months ago with the NADA bill that CPARs was going to change, that DOD was only going to do negative certifications, and they totally changed that, thank God, and they expanded it out, and they probably are going to expand it to commercial organizations, and that's
so why thank God that they didn't do that, Brian? Be honest.
Well, we have a product that's out there, CPAR's Radar. But beyond that, I mean, I've emailed the head of GSA and gotten responses back, and our partners in that have talked to OFPP, and there's reasons beyond source selection that it's important for cores to have a CPAR's process in place to help manage the contract. So CPARs are now going to be used for market research. So your contracting officers are going to use it for market research. One of the biggest impacts of the FAR Part 8, which I'm really happy they are not happy about. You used to be on the civilian side. FAR 8.404F said if you asked for a copy of the solicitation, the CO had to give it to you. They eliminated that language.
They did?
FAR Part, yeah, that's gone. So now, like a contracting officer, they can give it to 4 or 5 or 6 people and not include you, and they don't have to give it to you. Number one, and number two, we think they're going to be using their CPARs and only pick contractors that have very good or superior ratings for sending you a GSA Schedule Buy or solicitation.
If you're interested in that, I want to direct you to the event that you're doing, Brian. Can you get a copy of that and put it in there? Because you and Ken Susskind helps folks unscrew bad CPARs. And he and Ken and Brian and I have built CPAR's Radar to help folks. Kind of sounds like Sam Radar too, doesn't it?
It sure does. I wonder why.
Theme going on. But the idea is, so you can check that out, because I think, and thank goodness, because we got 2 years invested in this in time and dollars to be able to do it. So I'm very glad. And Ken was really instrumental in that, by the way, in talking with all the senior brass at GSA as well as Congress. So it was pretty amazing.
OFPP. Yeah. And the interesting thing with that, Dave, just for everybody doing business development, here he just reached out to him, and I reached out to the head of GSA, responded back to me. I mean, I didn't think I'd get a response back. I'm just a lonely contracting officer from an agency, down in the trenches, but back in the day. But so it is important just to reach out, and you don't know, particularly with all the changes going on. Just like Todd talking on CMMC, I mean, people in government with all these changes that are going on. They got their heads down. They don't know what's going on.
No, they don't know.
Right?
They don't know.
No. I mean, I could train in contracting.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought, Brian, because I want to come right back to that and talk about that, because that provides an avenue, which is what we're going to talk about today. So for my 2 cents, I love everything that everybody said. I love the navigating relationships and the changes that Denise had to say, the fact that they're overloaded. They don't have budget yet, and communication is key. Could not agree with that more. Sally's talking about pivoting and keeping calm and not freaking out. Love that. The messaging, Raphael, spot on messaging, and not pitching your socioeconomic certs as your lead in for certain. You shouldn't have been doing it anyway, but a lot of people were telling you to do that at the P-tax. Yeah. And the small business liaison, let them know that you're woman-owned small business. Want. Charlie Brown is what I say to that.
Yeah.
Compliance, I love that, Brian, and as well as Todd, your compliance. The fact that there's new paths for being able to do acquisition, and that puts people at a disadvantage if they've been around. But I'm going to share something real quick, because I think this is really cool. We have 30% of the people here that don't do anything in the federal contracts yet. So to them, Brian, there is no change. They're starting out fresh. They don't have all the baggage of the rest of us have been doing this for a decade or more, right? So I think that's really kind of an interesting spin.
Yeah, and Dave, I'll say, if you're a small business and you're new to it, like with the 8A program, what they're doing, you have more opportunity now as a small business. I see Raphael shaking his head. There's more opportunity now because the 4.5 million sole source awards to 8A companies is going away. It's totally going away. And now if a small business sells to a large and the option period comes up, they have to recertify. So there's probably going to be more opportunity out there on recompetitions. What do you think, Raphael?
You're spot on, guys. And by the way, I love the dynamic and the answers that we're getting today, because this is exactly what the small business community needs to be hearing. Dave, I can't say this enough. He's right. I was just working with a company that is in construction and that wanted to enter into a small business mentor. Well, they wanted to enter into the SBA's mentor protege program with a large, right? So their company, we did all the paperwork. We did the business plan that goes with that, the application. We registered both, but one vendor was registered, the other one wasn't. We created the mentor protege program application. We created the joint the entire structure, right? So that it goes through according to the letter of the law. And then, very important, because the big guys will always look at the small guy and try to see what they can gain in terms of leverage. And it's important that you stick to your guns and say, hey, no, we have to control 51% of this deal if this is going to go through. And we have to control 51% or higher, of course, of the net profit. And if it's between two small businesses, you can have as much of the work as you want.
That's right.
And also, and the larger your percentage of the work share, and there's no issues on the division. But when you're small and you're working with a large, it is imperative that you focus on what's in it for the little guy, right? That's important, because here's what we were getting from them, right? And again, I'm not going to mention names just out of ethics. Just I'm using it as a case scenario, if you will, right? As a case study. What were we missing? The bonding capacity, right? We wanted to bid on a contract. My client's bonding capacity was maxed out pretty much. This one required a bid bond guarantee, right, for 20% of the contract value, which is a lot of money for a small business, right? So the only way we were going to be able to do that, and at the same time reference the past performance and the employee experience. They were actually looking for employee experience tied to those specific deliverables, right? Not just past performance. So the way to mitigate all that and to do a proper crosswalk in the proposal response and make sure everything was mapped out and it was letter perfect was to ensure that we had mentor protege program, joint venture, set up the right way with the right language from the beginning. We were able to cite the past performance. We were able to meet the bid bond requirements with the help of the large, right? But everything's got to be done according to the spirit of the law. There is so much opportunity right now, Dave, that people should be thinking about, how do I shift gears, refocus on the mission here? Remember, the 23% is not going to go away, right? No, that's still there. And now they're just taking the pie and they're just not dividing it into all these little pieces, right? It's still the same pie. And then the other thing is that the subcontracting goals are still there, right? More so than ever before. So you have opportunities to win both as a small sub and as a small business prime. Focus on getting your ducks in a row, getting your stuff tightened down, narrowed down with the experts on this panel. Focus on that and don't worry about the other stuff. That's noise. Stay on this.
And Raphael, just one other point about the 8A program. Now, and me as a contracting officer, and I have been retired since 2017, so I'm saying that in past tense. I can take something out of the 8A program and give it to a woman-owned, a service-disabled-owned, a hub-zone. Absolutely. And I don't have to go back to SBA. And there's all kinds of other points.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Percentage too.
I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I do want to do a shameless plug for me at 1 p.m. today. Gov tutorial. You will find that in there. So, all right, hot seat question number 2. This is where we're going to take what we just learned and get ourselves positioned for the new work. How do you like that graphic, man? I'm going retro.
That's pretty awesome.
It's pretty great. That. I found that this morning. I was like, man, I'm using that. So I have no idea where it came from. So I can't even give anybody credit. So, but I love everything that you just said about this, and that is, Raphael, in your perspective, you want to make sure you have your ducks in a row. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that you're absolutely 100% leveraging everything you can, right, that you're promoting your compliance. You're gonna present a compliant way for them to do business with you, right?
Absolutely.
So So if we're talking about how do we get ourselves positioned, I'm going to start with Nikita. Let's go back to you for a minute, because Nikita it does a lot of these things for who you work for right now, and you've also helped other people do it too. You've been on GovBrief as well. So how do you get positioned in 2026? What do you do?
You make sure your capability statement is up to date. Your capability statement is an ever living, breathing document. As you gain new contracts, you update your past performance if you have the permission to do so. You make sure your LinkedIn is ready to go. You make sure that your website has a government section. They don't have to dig for it. It's right there. It's in their face. You make sure your DSBS is actually up to date and you have your capability statement linked. Reach out to Sally, reach out to Rafa. They have expertise in this. I have utilized them myself. It is amazing. They do 15-minute free conferences. Their information's in the chat. Please touch base with them. That is gaming yourself up. Then you want to actually make sure you're reaching out to the contracting officers yourself. You want to stay on top of any solicitations, any procurements that are actually there through Sam Radar. Again, I use Sam Radar. It's an amazing program.
I missed that point. What was that point?
You want to stay on top of
Sam Radar. You mentioned Sam Radar. Hey, well, look at this. What if I told you that, when did this happen? Yesterday? $1.3 million with what? One offer received? Yep. Why? Because it was done on a BPA call. What's a BPA, Brian?
A blanket purchasing agreement.
Yep.
And those can be direct awards. And sometimes all you have to do is talk to the contracting officer to get it. Yep. I've done it.
Yep.
You know, it's the other beauty of a BPA, whether it's on a GSA or an IDIQ. And at my former agency, they had only done 2 last year. They did 13 this year. You can do logical follow-ons. You can do a non-competitive logical follow-on if the order was competed to all the offers originally. So keep that in mind. I'm seeing that going up as a quick way for contracting officers to, for lack of a better word, get the work done.
Yep. So you will find those here as well, right, Brian? You're going to see these things come out, and the only way you're going to see it is if you're watching Sam Radar and you're saying, "Hey, I have no idea." Well, this is Nina. So you want to reach out to Nina and with GSA, Federal Acquisition Service, and you are going to say, "Hey, Nina, I want to talk about that contract because I want a piece of that next time." Let's look at another one. This is $3.9 million. What happened? Yesterday, $3.9 million. Yesterday. How many offers received? Everybody say it at the same time.
One.
Yeah, I know them. I think they're better known.
Yeah, sure. Could be. See that? Yep. So this is another one. So Goldschmidt and Associates, right? So, and we see this happen on a regular basis. Do yourself a favor, sign up for Sam Radar, just put it in there. In the first 3 months, you can save 10%. And I guarantee you, whatever you spend, if you stick with it, you will win or you'll get all your money back.
And there's a 7-day free trial.
And there's a 7-day free trial along with all of that, right? So I do want to mention that.
One of the biggest things, Dave, I'm going to say with Sam Radar is you want to look at those sources sought notice, especially if you have a GSA contract, because the sources sought notice right now state, do you have a Federal Supply Service schedule, a GSA? Do you have any other contract vehicle that could be utilized to award this outside of publication? And that goes to that percentage that doesn't hit sam.gov that you could take and capitalize on if you have another contract vehicle available to you, but you also can see where there may be bias. And whether I say government is biased towards the incumbent, we all know it happens, right?
No
so
way.
If you can catch that before the award is made or catch that upon the solicitation publication, you can file a protest. And it's gentle. You don't have to. I know protests are a touchy subject, but I do this. And I do this for anything that I think is favoring the incumbent. I use the FAR, like what Brian was talking about, to state different reasons as to why it should be either the set aside should be changed, whether the NAICS code should be changed, etc. Because if there's a limiting factor, you can move forward. I also want you to respond. And this is also, again, I respond to everything, whether it's in my class or out of my class. I respond to everything.
In other words, Nikita is classless. That's what I heard.
Yes. I am a small business, but I am classless because there are ways they can do a direct award if they don't meet the rule of two. If they want to do a BPA through you, through a conversation that you have with them. I mean, there's so many options and opportunities. So I mean, there's other options, but I'm going to stop talking because I'm
actually, I do
today.
I do what you throw in on this too, because you've done this as well. So reaching out to federal stakeholders is one of the challenges, and reaching project managers is way more difficult because there's no list of them, right? In Sam Radar, you get to the buyers. That's one side of the house. That's where Brian Hebel used to live, and we love Brian because he used to spend billions of dollars. Now he doesn't spend the money like he used to, so we don't love him nearly as much.
I don't know. Amazon's been at my house an awful lot lately.
So what Dave's talking about is actually as a company holding a briefing, and what we were able to utilize, because I do this all internally. I actually have an Excel list of document of every single government person I have touched base with. I actually sent that to Dave and then also used his contacts with my company to create a webinar for the government that was free. So we paid for it as a company. That was free to them for them to attend, and we were able to share information. And it's recorded. So they have access to go back and review it or share it with their team, as we were actually told they were sharing it with their team to further the internal discussion to issue the procurement to us. But it also provided information that's not normally disseminated across the ranks, right? We are acting as a subject matter expert to the government on their own government pieces on where we have been successful and what we do. And we're a niche company, right? But it gave us additional contacts. It gave us additional footprint to keep those conversations going, to gain further networking and gain further business. One of the things I love about the government is you talk with one person, they've probably worked at another facility, and they may know someone else at another facility. And that internal word of mouth as a small business, and this was one of the questions in the chat, was, how do I gain footprint? You ask for an internal referral. And you say, hey, is there anybody else who can help?
So if you want an example of that, we're doing it with iAdvantage, talking about GSS. Anybody know what GSS is? Gold Standard Science. That's a brand new term that just popped up, and there are requirements put out by the Trump administration for gold standard science. And if this has to do with research, this is actually going right to EPA. We already have 35 people from EPA signed up for this thing.
Wow.
Hey, Dave, and I will say, being a former Govy, what you're doing with this GovBrief is just amazing with your database to reach out to the Govies. It's nobody. I can't think anybody in the marketplace can do what you do in terms of reaching out to the Govies for people that have specific skill sets. Just, I mean, I really applaud you for what you've done. And to help the government, right? It's all about helping each other.
But look, if we can identify a need and we can fill that need, hey, let's do that.
Yeah.
Because listen, if you have the need and we can fill the need, then if we can't figure out how to bridge that gap, shame on us, right? Right?
Well, plus you get to position yourself as the expert, right?
As
your
the
fingerprints all over it. You can set their policy on these things, especially if you have some cutting edge thing like gold. What do they call GSS? If you're a GSS expert, you have an opportunity to shape their procurement strategy
and help them deliver.
Yeah, absolutely.
And getting your fingerprint, I love what you said. If you look at the winnable opportunity matrix, knowing early, getting your fingerprints on it, setting the scope of work, minimizing the competition, that's what we do. But in order to do that, we have to be engaged with the people with the need. And if we don't know who has the need, and I don't really care what agency it is, these guys really want to get into the EPA. So we just carved out the EPA and we went after EPA. Most of the time, I don't care. I want to get wherever they're buying what you sell. So that's what we did, is we built that out. If you'd like to see it in action, you can sign up for this one and see how it works. It's free for you guys to join as well. It's on GovBrief. You can get it on govbrief.us. And, oh, by the way, if you'd like to check out how to do that, sit down with me and my team, and we'll talk about how to use this as part of your federal marketing. That's what we do. So,
as someone who's used it, number one, we had 2 meetings. we were able to create our own content and then send it to Dave and Dave's team. We were able to edit it based off of what their knowledge is, as well as what our knowledge is. So it was two teams coming together to create a maximum opportunity for the government to attend, to learn, and to be able to push our name, push Dave's name as well, but also just inform. And that's one of the things. It's not a sales pitch, right? But you are informing them and piquing their interest in order to actually want to continue the conversation.
It's an education session, and you're the expert. That's the difference. We're not doing a pitch deck. And in fact, we start out with the same disclaimer. Hey, you don't have to buy from anybody. In fact, if in joining this, you're not endorsing anybody. This gives you the ability to talk. And then we have the dialogue, and at the end, they say, oh, by the way, if you'd like to buy from these guys, you can because they're GSA contract holders or they have this IDIQ or BPA. But the idea is get out in front and start educating your base, your federal customer base. That's the most important thing to me. And that actually leads us right into this next question. What can we do right now? Well, right now, you can start educating your base. If you're not educating your base, what are you doing?
Dave, Dave always had.
Last question in 10
I always have a saying. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to get there. And the goal for everybody on is to get a contract, right? But like what Nikita said, that you brief them, and they might pass it on to somebody else, just like she said, and you don't know where it might go just by having that.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you just don't know.
True.
That's the beauty of it. You know.
So true. In fact, one of those was a CMS piece. Go ahead, Sally. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. I was answering the last question. I put it in 10 items, so I don't want to take up people's time. But I answered the last one in 10 things you could do. So.
Cool. Love it.
Dave, I got to roll.
So, all right, go ahead, Brian.
Bye, Brian.
I'll talk to you later. All right, Denise, how do we act right now on this? How do we act? What do you recommend folks do right now in order to be able to capture work in 2026?
Well, other than getting on SAM radar, which is really
Number
important.
one answer. That's the best answer.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, you better spend time every day.
There's no pitches here.
I wish Jared was here, right? To study and see what's moving and shaking in government, and then carve out time to actually reach out to folks every single day. Through, really good business development. You could even meet with Dave's team, and they will tell you how to reach out, because there is a little bit of a science to that.
Oh, yeah. We love doing that.
Don't forget, on SAM Radar, you have those email templates.
Yes, they're there. You can use them, can send them, but you really have to dedicate some time. Every day.
But you're going to dedicate anyway. You're already going to be dedicating the time. You better be dedicating the time, or it's not going to work.
It's not.
So let's go to you, Sally White. What do you recommend people do right now? You ready to?
I know. I'm just trying to think of something I put other than my little 10 items. I think one of the most important things, and again, please know I'm not sucking up. It's not a shameless plug. I think coming to these sessions. You can come on Monday roundtable twice. You can come on.
So explain that a little bit, because folks that are here aren't part of the Monday roundtables yet.
Well, let me tell you why.
If you're a SAM Radar member, you get access, right? So that's one of the reasons.
Membership has this privilege. Yep.
Right.
So if you're a SAM Radar member, so that's the first thing is, if you haven't joined and paid your membership, do it today. I think that's the most important thing you can do, because without intelligence and knowledge about who's buying in your NACE code, what primes or your competitors are being awarded, what's happening, it's impossible to navigate this business. So one is you got to get some intelligence. So join SAM Radar. Secondly is come every week to Monday, twice on Monday, because
you can come even if it's once a month. I guarantee it's going to work.
Yeah, because what happens is we come and we get to know each other, and there's between 30 and 50 people on these calls. And so it's a force multiplier, because we can all help one another. We can connect on LinkedIn. We can learn new techniques, tricks. And what Dave was your number from last year? 500 million?
440.
440 million in closed business from people who come to these roundtables. So I think
crazy,
right? So I think without sucking up and without shameless plugs. I think that's the most important thing you can do right now because it's keep coming back.
Yeah.
So, but I do think that they should be looking at going to events too, don't you?
Oh yeah, conferences are really important. So I just signed up for West 26. I got one of my brands a speaking engagement, and I go to probably about 10 conferences a year. And I'll put in the chat. I put them on my website. Dave asked me to do that. And so conferences, whether you go virtually, whether you go live, is so important because of the relationship play. You can show up with intelligence you've got from Dave and the team. You show up with your beautiful branded information you got from Raphael, et cetera, et cetera. You show up to these conferences and you can meet people and connect. And I've literally connected with the former Secretary of the Navy, Carlos de Torres, other people that I would never have known. So conferences are very important, and so is LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, can I jump in here for 2 seconds?
No. Yes.
I want to expound on something Sally and Denise did, but something that everyone should be doing this time of year. One, if you are a current contract holder, reach out and thank them during this holiday season, okay? Because you're thanking your existing people. How many times do people actually say, thank you, we are pleased to be a service, can we improve on anything? It's opening the door for you to meet and exceed your expectations. Number 2 is to reach out and just say, happy holiday season, which is a very, generic thing because you don't necessarily want to just say Merry Christmas, right? You want to say happy holiday season or some other form of language to say, I see you, I'm here, I wish you well, And you can do that to contracting officers. You can do that to the facilities you're in direct contact with that you have built a relationship with. But you can also do it as a company saying, as we move into this holiday season, we want to know, while time is short and people are out, if you need anything, we are here to help. And it's not a pitch. It's just I'm here, but I acknowledge you and I'm grateful for you.
That's really important. And last year, I'm not plugging, but I'm just showing. I did a beautiful card last year, and I basically said, the strength of the wolf of this pack, so happy you're part of ours. And it opened up, and it has me, my wolf, the whole thing. I sent it to all my customers, and then I did a QR code, et cetera. And so even though it's kind of branded and sort of, represents EchoWolf, it's also a heartfelt thing. And by investing in a beautiful card, and there are people here who can help you, people go, wow. And you don't have to send it physical. You can also do an electronic, or you can do a text card. So thanks, Nikita, for reminding us of all that.
Yeah, it's just the part of the communication you both were talking about that I thought we should expand.
Brilliant.
I agree. I think communication is really important. I'm calling up Rafael Marrero next because I tell you what, he does those types of mailings. He does those types of marketing pieces, just like you just showed. And I'm telling you, he's a rock star with this. So, Rafa, you mentioned something. So please announce that the next 100 subscribers to Sam Radar will receive a complimentary capability statement audit review and redesign.
And a redesign.
From you?
We're offering up 100 new capability statements to new subscribers of Sam Radar.
Get out of here.
Okay? No, seriously. But they have to keep the annual subscription. You can't just cancel. You know what I mean? That's the one rule, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna make good on that. So please, and we want to send that out. So cool. Sign up for Sam Radar starting today, right? Dave, you may want to create a code so we can keep track of those, right?
I'll make sure. Anybody that signs up.
I'm not going to just do anyone that calls and say, hey, man, I got Sam Radar.
Raphael said, but that's like a $4,000 value. There. I'm serious.
That's no joke.
I'm sharing the love. I really am.
I love
Raphael, that's incredible.
And
I want to give back, and this is my way of doing it. So
I love it. You're awesome. I love you, man. All right, Todd Crane, real quick, what do they need to do right now?
They need to, if you're in the Department of War, you need to start getting your CMMC done. Even if you're not doing CUI, you still need to get that done. Also, Brian Hebel was talking about FAR changes. Well, we've got some cybersecurity FAR changes coming too.
That's a fact.
We're looking at same stuff that's happening in Department of War. We'll be expanding to the entire executive branch. So it'd be good for you to get this done now, and especially with the shortage of compliant vendors, it's a real big differentiator right now. If you want to land those contracts, if you want to get your foot in the door, the primes are looking for people right now that already have this done. So it's a great way to put your name at the top of the list.
I love it. All right, so real quick, getting us out of here. Keys to federal sales success. You got to get moving. If you're not moving, It ain't going to work. Just letting everybody know. It's on you to move. You can't steer a parked car, right, Rafa? Cannot steer a parked car. So watch all the contract activity, get those buyers in your space, research and prepare and get out there and marketing hard. Since it's after Thanksgiving, that's last week's. Join us today on GovBrief. You can get that on govbrief.us at 1 p.m. I'm talking about sam.gov. Remember, that's the 2%, but I'll show you some of the secrets for doing the research on sam.gov today at 1 p.m. We'll also be talking about the gold standard science, GSS. I talked about that before. If you'd like to see how GovBrief works, this is how it works. And we have a deputy director coming to the session, for God's sakes. Are you kidding me? Let's go. And then I'm talking about doing business with HHS. If you're interested in HHS, you should be, because they're huge and they make a lot of money. If you have any questions, we'll do our best to stick around for a couple minutes. I want to give a great shout out and thanks for my good friend, the doctor, the Santa Colonel, Rafael Marrero, who is giving away 100 SAM radar capability statements, audits, and reviews. That is huge. That's a big
Dave,
deal.
we've got
Thank
a
you.
great question here. Just so that we get it in time. How much weight is CPARS expected to hold this year, and what action can a small business take to strengthen their profile? And also, what do you have if you don't have a past CPARS?
Okay. I'm going to answer that in a minute. Let me finish thanking everybody, and then we'll answer that on the way out. Sound good? Sally White, thank you for that. Everything that you do and the help that you give people in those events. Is that cool?
Absolutely. Thank you. Anything you can do, anything I can do for you, let me know.
And Todd Crane, you can snap this while it's up there. If you're interested in learning more about how to keep you better be secure, whether or not you're doing defense industrial base or not, because you can still get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. Hey,
So
real quick, Dave, do you want me to launch the poll?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Yeah, launch the poll. Yeah, if you need any additional help. And Denise B. Lawrence, who helps with for-profit grants, but also does RFPs and RFIs. Thank you for all your help this year and everything you've done for everybody. It's been awesome.
Yes.
A lot of good stuff coming out. Nikita Van Kirk, we got some news, potentially. We'll leave that as a teaser. But I appreciate you, Nikita, and all your insight. She is a Sam Radar member, and you can ask her anything, and she'd be honest with you on everything that it does and doesn't do.
Raphael,
we thank Peter.
Kathy needs your contact information.
Oh, I'm gonna copy and paste it right now. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Been crazy busy during the call. People have been paying me.
It's been nuts. Right?
Yeah.
All right. We thank Peter Timbus for what he does and hopes that he gets his frozen pipes unfrozen. And then we thank Brian for being here. He had to roll out, but you can find that out. We'll get to your questions in just a minute. If you have to jump, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. And if you're a heathen and you don't have any of those things, Happy Holidays and Happy New Year. And then we'll see you next month, and we'll get your questions. Join me today at 1 p.m. for that. So, couple things. Kathy, if you don't have past CPARs, it's only because you haven't won a large enough contract yet, Kathy. But I will say that CPARs are becoming more important, and I would absolutely go to cparsradar.com and fill out a form and say, hey, I would like information about that. But if you'd like, I can pass your information on, Kathy, to Ken, and he can help you out with CPARs. Sound good? Because it's important. Anybody that gets a federal contract that reaches a certain threshold, depends on the PSC as to whether or not it's a complicated process, but CPARS Radar takes care of that and then notifies you when you have to do the things that you have to do. And a lot of that is on you to supply them with how well you're doing on your own contract. Of course, we're going to tell them we're doing great, right? So that's what we want to do. And Jamie, the weight of CPARs is expected to go up. It's actually good for us at CPARS Radar, but that's exactly what you want to do. I'll make sure, Jamie, you too. Jamie Costa, we'll make sure you get time with Ken Susskind. Does that sound good, Jamie? And if I'm saying your name right, I hope I am. Any questions before we jump? Any more questions?
Mm-hmm.
What do you got there, Rafa? You got anything else you want to throw in?
I just included the information on the chat. So things that we can do, free consultation, and let's rock with the promo. Let's get it out there.
I love it. Love that idea. Thank you very much. Yep. Was not expecting that from you, my brother. Mm-hmm. You know I love you to death. All right. All right, guys. Great stuff. We'll get you guys out of here. Thanks for joining me, everybody, today. Great session. Thank you very much, Denise and Rafa and Todd and everybody. Everybody else left.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks, Dave.
I'm not thanking them then.
They're like,
I'm sticking there. I'm here for you.
All right. Thanks,
all right,
guys.
Go. Bye.
Appreciate you guys.